Ulpiano Malachias, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, competitor, MMA fighter, runs one of the biggest, most successful, probably Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms in the country, Westchase in Houston, Texas, Gracie Barra Westchase in Houston, Texas. And he came here from Brazil with $100 in his pocket. And $100 in his pocket. And I met you then. So it's a big pleasure to talk to you today and talk a little bit about your history and your journey. You've been through a lot, like life, right? Like this situation now that we're in. But it's a big pleasure to talk to you.
First of all, I always been, for a long time, a person that I look up to, so he's a high belt to me, and he moved back to Belo Horizonte, my city, and he was a legend in the city because there's not many American guys spend time around there, like who wants to come to the Cave of the Lions, And I was crazy enough to spend time with us, over there. And like you say, I'm a very focused person. I always,
Hard work.
when I put something on my mind that I will do it, I always, make sure I get things done. And actually, I moved with $400 on my pocket.
$400. Okay.
No, 100. It was $400.
You're rich.
And I moved with the dream to be an MMA fighter, fight in UFC, like everybody else, think it would be easy. So then I have to face the reality that was not that easy, and I have to do all kind of different jobs, bouncer, valet parking, everything.
Yeah.
But,
let's go back a little bit. I want to hear about because Belo Horizonte is it's like my hometown in Brazil, right? It's my city, Of course, I lived in Rio de Janeiro. I lived in, I lived in but Belo Horizonte is the city is my hometown. That's where all my friends are, and that's where you're from, And
yes.
we're all intertwined, So how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? What brought you to jiu-jitsu?
When I moved to the office, so here's better less noise. So I started when I was young. Actually, my mom put me to train judo because she said I was full of energy, and she can make me focus on anything, So my mom said, all he wants to do is play. So she actually put me to train judo. And I trained judo for years of my life. In a school they have by my house.
8 years, you said.
I started at 4 years old.
4 years old, okay.
4. And because I have an older brother, and he used to train. And then usually when you have older brother, you want to follow the steps of your brother. And I started to train. And I trained all the way to 15, 14, I think. And I got hepatitis as a kid.
Oh, wow.
So I had to spend 60 days in the hospital because the liver, and I couldn't eat a bunch of food. So I couldn't go to school for 6 months. I missed a year, And when I decided to go back to train, I was like 17. So one of a good friend of my family was Eric Vanderlei.
Uh-huh.
And I say, I did judo for years. I'm going to go right there and I'm going to beat this guy because this guy thinks he's strong. So I went there and he like...
You're just saying that you knew better than that just by looking at the guy. The guy's like a Hercules looking guy.
300 movie, I went there. He like without using any strength, he beat me up easy. And I was thinking I can take it. I could do anything, like me and everybody else. And after that, he said, "Want to start training? Let's go train." It was at a gym in São Bento, and that's how actually I got involved in jiu-jitsu and never stopped. And from there, it is what it is,
Yeah.
I was never a Draculino directly student. I never been. I was Eric's student, and then doing this course, I moved to Vitória, Espírito Santo. Then I moved back to Belo Horizonte, and then I moved to the United States.
Yeah, that's
the beginning of everything.
What what are the memories you have from those days, training in those days?
Man,
you were pretty young, right? So what?
I'm 40 now. So at that time I was young, 17, 18. So it was crazy because I never thought in my life that that's what I'm going to do for a living, We are very privileged back home in Brazil, and you probably witnessed this over there. Pretty much everybody that trains jiu-jitsu over there was a middle class. So it's very cultural that your parents want you to go to the college, get a degree, graduate, and usually you work for your parents' company, or your parents know someone, they're going to give you opportunity, you're going to start to do your job, your work, And so at that room at that time, I was blue belt. Samuel Braga was white belt. And it's crazy because for the fact that I never thought that this was something that I did for living, things in life change. And Samuel becomes several times world champion. And then, I have opportunity one day to move to America after a big crisis in Brazil. I decided, I'm going to try to become a fighter or do something in America. But was never the idea to come right here to be a jiu-jitsu teacher and to live off of jiu-jitsu.
Never thought at those times.
No.
Like Eric Vanderlei, he was the state of Belo Horizonte, is the third largest city in Brazil. It's Minas Gerais is the state. So Eric Vanderlei actually was the first world champion out of the state. And so you trained with him, and then Samuel Braga, he was also a black belt world champion. That won, actually years later, right? 2000, what is it? 2009? Maybe?
Yeah, I think it was 3 times world champion.
Yeah. So you were inspired by him, and you're like, man, I should go for it too, huh? Go.
Yeah, no, I think was this in 2009. Brazil was a very economically was very bad. Still not great.
It was the recession.
So I have a good friend of mine that actually used to do MMA and Kung Fu. He moves right here, saying, "Listen, it's easy to beat these American guys. If you come right here, we can do these small shows and we can make in dollars." So I moved to do this with him.
So a promoter got you to pull the trigger to move to the U.S.
No, a good friend of my neighbor. He moved. He used to fight in MMA too. And then he moves. And he say, come right here. We're going to beat everybody. We're better than these guys. And I say, listen, I'm going to move to America. I'm going to make in dollars, beat these guys, and easy. But I get here in America, and then it was completely a different situation because you was actually the main guy, king of the cage. And it was no money, and the fight was one every 3-4 months.
Right.
So I said to my friend, "No, bro, we got to do something else." So my first job was a valet parking.
Valet parking.
Yeah. And I still training, and then I have opportunity to meet First Gracie. He was doing some audition, find training partners for his fight against Akebono. And that's how everything started. I went there, I trained, and I started training with him. There's no Gracie Barra or any, my close friends or somebody affiliate to our school back home here, So it was pretty much, that was the beginning. It was just a dream, but it was I didn't actually think that I would make money teaching jiu-jitsu. Was never an idea.
Yeah, because there's some old pictures of you and Quentin Rampage Jackson. I remember you were training with him and Dan Henderson, maybe? I don't know. I remember Rampage Jackson. You had that.
Yeah, he hired us to help him for the fight against Dan Henderson.
That's right.
But Dan Henderson was a good wrestler, and he needs to learn how to. And actually, he won the fight.
Yeah.
And crazily, on that same camp was Michael Bisping, Shea Congo. At that time, there was nobody, I don't even know what the guys are. I was just go right there, and
So how did the opportunity arise? Because your first gym was in Santa Ana, California, and I still visit common friends.
When I was I first moved to actually Hollywood. My friend, the one that invited me, he was living in Hollywood, which I lived there for a couple of months, and then I found a roommate in Torrance. Okay. And then I start to train, and then Master Carlos and Professor Márcio Feitosa and André from IBJJF and Piu Piu in 2005. They moved to Lake Forest because they're going to open the first Gracie Barra.
That's right.
Gracie Barra USA. You remember this really well. You know, because at this time
I was supporting.
was there. And they opened that school, and then the school did well. They have a lot of problems in the partnership, and then they opened a very little school in Lake Forest on a office space.
Yeah.
And Master Carlos asked me to help to teach. So at that time was me, Professor Márcio Feitosa, Professor Kira Gracie, Professor Flávio Almeida, Professor Piu Piu, and André. We all teach over there. I used to drive. And 2007, Master Carlos had the idea to open a school and open a school that will teach the same way that he was teaching. And at that point, I just want to live off Jiu-Jitsu. Even though I don't believe in the system at that time, I was one that truly don't believe in the system. I said, I will do it. Just because I want an opportunity to open a school. And then I opened one in Santa Ana. It was the first, actually, Gracie Barra franchise. And I followed the system.
I remember that was the first, you were the first premium, the first legit one.
Yeah, and I kind of followed the system, not because I believe, but was because at that time was the only way that I see the opportunity. If I say yes, I will do it. And I have to say it was a process that made me understand that Jiu-Jitsu was approaching a different way, the way that anybody believes. And I have to relearn, because you come from a generation that it was a survival. The only ones that stays on the mats is the ones that want to get beat.
It's the fight club. It's like a fight club.
You don't go right there to learn a Jiu-Jitsu. You go right there to learn how to become a tough person. The techniques of Jiu-Jitsu was not much in the point at the time. It was more like, you can take it, bro. You're welcome right here. You cannot take it, you can leave. You know? And I start to do the system, and more, and I remember at the time you was open your school, and you have a lot of conversations with me, and I said, wow, as much as we go against our principles, a lot of things make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm glad that I was enough, open-minded enough to try, because I believe that the biggest success of not just my success, but all Jiu-Jitsu schools all over the world,
yes,
was because of the system was created by Gracie Barra, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's the right way. Like I 2005, 2006, like they were trying to figure it out. Yeah. Like the system. And I had to learn from the karate guys. Yeah. How to do, how to have a good business, because the way it was like a fight club. Right. And it's hard to kind of, I love Jiu-Jitsu. I believed in it with everything I am. And to continue doing it, like long-term, for it to be sustainable, it has to be a good business. That's the bottom line. You know, we're not about the money. We're not about but at the end of the day, it has to be good business for you to be able to do it at your best ability, right? So I had to go to the karate guys back in those days. Yeah. But, and so I remember Marcel because they visited me as well, and just trying to exchange information. But they're for sure, like, it's amazing, what Flavio's done, and the systems they've implemented, and it's amazing, because it's great for everybody. It's changed the landscape of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Because before that, it was everyday. We can still have that. We can still have the everyday porrada. We can still kick, fight and train hard, but we need to have it be professional, and to have it for everybody, to come in and be able to enjoy the art, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, because yesterday they have a guy called, his name is José Júnior from Abu Dhabi. You know who it is, right?
Yeah.
So José Júnior, actually, he was doing an interview yesterday, and he make exactly point is this. He learns Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil, and then he moves to America to work with us. He was actually with me, in our Santa Ana school. And he say is this, he was able to see a jiu-jitsu that he never see before. Not in technique wise, but the way the jiu-jitsu was present to the people.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a whole new learning process.
The way
And
it was packaged,
he went to Abu Dhabi to do this process to change the mind of people. And he was actually really successful. He was one of the main guys that did this in Abu Dhabi on the schools. And now he's in Saudi Arabia doing the same.
Wow. What's the name of the gym there in Abu Dhabi?
No, he does the same. They try to put in the schools the same way that they do.
Oh, in the schools, I see. Yeah, it's the right way. It's the right way because you need the culture of respect and honor, you know, because we always had this way, but it was definitely like a lot more raw. Yeah, like you know. Like,
yeah, I believe the honor and loyalty we always learn. But the only thing we didn't learn at that time is not everybody wants to come right here to get hurt. Some people want to come right here just because they're big fan of us, they want to support us, and they want to be around us, you know? And to understand this before was really hard.
you know, you ended up you fought in King of the Cage. You ended up coming and fighting MMA. You did it, you know.
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't know how I was there, but I was your corner. And I was always with you somehow, you know, and all these old times, you know, from your school and your MMA fight. Where was that MMA fight?
Here's the thing, Al. Everybody say, I'm going to do MMA. I'm going to do MMA. But there's a difference between you do it and you're going to do it.
And talking, right?
I remember at that time I say to Babalu. Babalu was a big influence on me, you know, because when we moved to California, Babalu was fighting in UFC against Chuck Liddell, and I was helping him. Mm-hmm. And he said, man, you do so well right here, you should do MMA. You're going to beat a lot of people. So after I went to that camp with Rampage, I was like doing really well against guys that actually fight professional, that have big records. Then I was doing really, really well because for us at that time, not many people knows the jiu-jitsu that we know.
Yeah.
Every time they grab the guy, it's over.
Yeah.
You know, it was very easy. And I got the challenge, Tony Bonello. He has a very good connection on King of the Cage. He was a champion, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to fight? I say, yeah, man, I will. Say, when? He say, next week. I don't know if he was asking me to see if I had the balls or not. I said, I'll do it, bro. He said, but you train? I said, I'm always ready. So I get there, King of the Cage doesn't pay much. They give $400.
Those are the original Valtudo MMA stories.
Wasn't Ruidoso.
Next week? Okay, let's go.
Ruidoso, man. And I don't speak English very well at the time. And the guy said, the guy have 19 fights. I don't know what I understand. I understand the guy have I don't know what I understand. I understand the guy was no fights as well.
Yeah.
So I get that the guy have professional records, 19 fights.
Yeah.
That was my first one. And I have no corner. That's how you went to my corner, because I went by myself.
Yeah.
I said to the guy, I don't have anybody to do my hand.
I wrap your hands, I massage you, you.
Topless did my hand. And I say, Al, you hold the bucket. And I say, don't bring the towel. If I die right there, don't throw the towel. I remember I said this to you. And, you know, like I remember I see people coming back after my fight was to the end.
Right.
People coming back to the corner, puking, all messed up.
Yeah.
And that was really getting to me. So when we get there, you walk with me, and then we slap me on the face like 4 times. And I say, what the hell is wrong with Alberto, man? And I say, now it's going to be fast. So it was 30 seconds, my fight.
You asked me to do that.
Yeah, but no, look, because, you know, like when you do these MMA things, when you're like beginner, like I was, man, at that time, the adrenaline, I was like, I'm not going to say it's a fear.
It's a part of it. Yeah, it's a part of it.
It's not a fear, but the adrenaline, I was like, have no feelings, you know, was all numb. And at that time, my mind, the only thing I want to do, I want to go home now. But I say, I was here. Tony Bonello is, if I go home, this guy going to call me Sissy for the rest of my life. I have to stay. And I did. You know, it was 30 seconds. You remember? It was very fast. And
Jiu-Jitsu clinic.
yeah, I go right there. I punch the guy, take him down mouth, and I'm lock the guy fast, you know, 30 seconds. Because, I'm doing something. Because, you know, like, that's what I know how to do, Jiu-Jitsu. I go right there and do Jiu-Jitsu. And I did, you know, because I did some other ones in Brazil that doesn't count. In Brazil doesn't have all these records, but I want to do one right here. And at that time, I want to do more. But I don't know why I didn't. I regret. I think if I did more, I would do well. But, you know, I focus on teaching. I opened my school, and I don't have any regrets, you know.
Yeah. What was the feeling like when they raised your hand? What was the feeling?
You should accomplish, you know. We go home.
What did you feel? What are the memories?
I want to do again. The feeling was easy. Let me do again. But I don't know. Life take different turns.
It's easy until it's not. Until you have a bad night.
Yes.
Good nights come, it's great. But when it's not,
I know. No, it's the same with Jiu-Jitsu, you know, when you get hurt in the competition, you think you did, you know. But my point was to prove to myself that I did everything. So I compete gi, no gi, MMA, I compete in Muay Thai, and I compete in boxing. So I think it's this, I can call myself a martial artist because I try everything. I compete in every single position. So be a champion. It's not every single one, only one. I tried. I got second, words, third, but I couldn't be a champion, you know. But like I say, I think overall, I did more than most people accomplish because I went out of my comfortable zone to test myself. And I think every martial artist, the reason you choose a sport is you want to test yourself. You know, you did several times more than everybody.
yeah, that's it. You know, I think it's not even about it's about testing yourself, testing your limits, right? Doing things that you couldn't, going out of your comfort zone. I think that's what it's all about, right? And anything that we do in life, like pushing your boundaries. How far can I go? Exactly. So congratulations on doing it all, you know. And coming from your background, you didn't have like a lot of the people have like a growing up, even okay, you did judo growing up, but you didn't have like a fighting background or anything, or you know, you were probably in school, right? And it was like a hobby thing that you did.
Private school, and I didn't have a rough. You know, most Brazilians they come right here and try to play. Oh, we have a rough.
Yeah.
Most Brazilians that actually is here, they come from middle class.
Yeah.
And they didn't have rough at all. You know, I can't say that I have a rough growing up because it's not true. The rough times I had was on the mats.
Man, let's talk about Gracie Barra Westchase. Mm-hmm. How big is the facility? How many students do you have?
So before all this, we was 750 members.
Right.
We have
for all this, yeah. It's every day it's different, right?
Yeah.
Before COVID-19.
We have 11,000 square feet location.
Amazing.
It's a very well-built location because this was my fourth gym that I was building. And all this process I learned that, you know, if you spend the money properly on the long run, the results will be better, you know. So today we have like 6 showers, we have a towel service, we have a laundry geese service, and we have 83 classes a week. We open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We have sauna, we have everything that the athletes need. We have cage, we have everything, you know.
Amazing. Congratulations. Before the COVID.
yeah, and it was something that, you know, a person that I always look up to as not just a competitor, but as a business guy. Since New Mexico, you have a very successful schools. And Tusa was very close to you, learned a lot from you, and for the fact that Tusa is my good friend. helps me. So a lot of people ask me the recipe of my success. People think I'm going to put it on the paper and say, do this and you're going to succeed. But I think the recipe of my success was to be around successful people on the right times. You know, when I was needing to learn my MMA, I was around successful people for MMA. When it was time for me to learn to do business, I was around Flavio, Mars, whatever that. At that time, there was the most smart minds on you know, smart minds on the business inside Jiu-Jitsu. So I call myself a little lucky to be around the right people in the right time. That's the recipe that I can tell people, you know.
Yeah. But I've known you, and I see how you do everything, and you're a hard worker. You know, okay, you're for sure. You have to be around the right people. I agree, but also hard work is you know, they say talent. Guy's talented, hard worker. I'd rather be the hard worker. You know, I think that's genetic too. You know, so where do you think this hard work comes from?
Oh, I think it's more the fact that I'm very competitive.
Mm.
I like to be better than the others, but not in a evil way, but it's in a personal accomplishment. And all my friends are like this. So when we train against each other, it's not that we want to hurt each other, but I don't want to lose, you don't want to lose, so we give our best. And I think work-wise was this. When I first opened a school, for the fact that I was not world champion, that the fact that I was not so accomplished title-wise, as many other ones I was open, I want to prove to myself and to the other ones that I can do better than most people, because I was not a champion, not because I'm not good at Jiu-Jitsu. I was not a champion because to be a champion sometimes was, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was not for me, or maybe the other guy was more prepared than me, you know. So I don't know, I think it was more my work ethic, was more I compete to myself to prove that I can be better than the others.
Yeah, it's you. I mean, you have to have a certain mindset, you know, to do anything. So I think that's a quality, like a toughness, you know, because you can give up. Are there some situations that you could have given up on even having a school? You have this big school now. Are there some times that you're like, man, forget this, I'm gonna do something else?
No, you know, I'm going to give you an example about this problem that we all facing right now. I know friends of mine, they're desperate, they're crying, they don't sleeping. I'm going to say I'm in the best shape of my life, because for 45 days I've been working out like crazy, eating clean, because I'm not that stressed. Because if we have to start from zero again, I know the recipe of the success. Was not, if we fail right now, it's not because we did something wrong, but it was something that we can't control. So I'm focused person now. Always been. I always learn from everybody. I'm always pay attention in everything that I do, and I'm a super organized. I'm a crazy OCD organized. You know, and I think when you like this, you can't fail. You know, and me and you, we have a very similar ways to think. You know, and because I know you very well, and I know you're the same way. You're a perfectionist. You want to do better than the others. You want to be the guy that train more still. You want to be the guy that work more on your gym. You want to be the first and last one to leave. And then it's just some people have, some people don't have. Look at Draculino.
Yeah, he's the example. He's the example for all of us.
He teaches kids class. I teach kids class. My friends ask, you crazy? They go, I love it. See the kids hug me is the best thing in the world, you know?
Yeah.
So every class right here, even the kids, is taught by black belt, because not that I think the other one is not qualified, but I try to pass to my black belt is this: teaching the kids and teach the adults is the same. Actually, the kids are better because they have way more a long journey than the adults, and then they're gonna actually have this for forever, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like a new person coming in, what advice would you give somebody like a white belt? What kind of mindset, what kind of thoughts do you have for advice?
we have to see this out. People come right here for different reasons and looking for different results, right? So if the guy come right here and he's out of shape, overweight, and what he's looking is for us to, give to him a confidence. So my advice for this guy is to keep the commitment, trust in the process, and give your best. The rest will do themselves. The only thing you have to do is to keep coming back. The rest Jiu-Jitsu will do alone, And let's say a guy coming right here in very good shape, fighter. My advice for him is this. In the beginning, you're not right here to compete, you're right here to learn. When you learn, and then you go to compete. So you have to see exactly the purpose of each one that comes right here. And I think this helps to keep people motivated and stick with the training,
Yeah. You've been on the mat for 20 years, right? Do you have any, so I want to talk about the future. Do you have any regrets? Do you think there are some things that you wish you wouldn't have done, or that you think you could have done better?
I don't want to say regrets, because I have no regrets in life. But if I could go back in time, I would trust on myself more than I did before. Because at that time it was hard to believe that Jiu-Jitsu will give to me a livelihood, like ways to live off of Jiu-Jitsu. So for a long time, I have 3 jobs. I work as a bouncer at nighttime, I work at valet at daytime, and I train in between. So because at that time I was believing that, Jiu-Jitsu is a hobby, and a hobby doesn't pay my bills. And when you move to a capitalism like this, little by little, you start to have more expensive lifestyle. You buy a better car, you live in a better apartment. So which forces you have to work long hours to make more money. So if I can go back to the time, the thing that will be different will be work less and spend more time competing or training more on Jiu-Jitsu. Because if I have that little more experience that I missed at that time, maybe right now we'll be making a difference. So maybe I could reach the goals that I have to be a world champion or something that I was not,
Yeah. I think back in those days, like when you started your school, it was like 2009 in that first gym, right? In California. 2009, 2010.
7.
Oh, 7.
2007.
Okay. So I mean, those times were it was a different time. It was a different time than now, as far as like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of people didn't know what it was, California they had it, but I think we live in a different time now. Like I mean, it's 13 years later, right? That people know, and it's like the martial art that people do, right?
Yes.
So
if you take in consideration, in 2000 and I'm gonna go back 2007. Okay, you have a tournament. You have European, and then you have Pan American Games, Brazilian Nationals, World Championship, and that's it. After the World, they have later they no gi. So today you have 5 IBJJF tournaments on a weekend. Yeah. So it's much more spread and much more visible than it was years ago. Like I see sometimes a guy in 3 months, the guy posts a picture with the medals, 100 IBJJF medals. Years ago, even if you compete all, you have 3. There's only 3 tournaments,
Me and Eric, we talk. Eric Vanderlei, we say, man, imagine our time if we would have had social media even at those times.
Yeah.
It would have been a whole different ball game. even with social media, just to do marketing and those kinds of things.
Man, we have to learn is this. You know this better than anybody. The way that people learned before, one of us traveled to Rio de Janeiro, and I learned a position that Pé de Pano was doing everybody on the tournament. Hey, can you help me? Pé de Pano teach me. So Eric learned that position and bring to Belo Horizonte. You know, so next month, maybe Chichi was going to Rio. He learned one technique and he brings. Today, you can do Zoom. You can break down technique. The guy take the world championship, he stops, Zoom, put arrows and teach how to pass the guard.
Yeah, so, different time. Things move much faster than everything was so hard. I remember, I would buy VHS tapes from a guy named Paqueta. I would have to find this guy, and I would go, if I had a camera, I would go with the camera and video the tape, the matches. And there was they had the matches luckily on Sport TV back in those days too, like some of the final matches. So I would record it from the TV, and then I would break down the matches. That's how I would like really learn.
That's how you learn.
But now you have like, of course, you have the live tournaments. You can watch it live, like on all the Flow Grapplings, the Abu Dhabi's. It's live, and you even get to go into the gyms of like the top guys, right? The top competitors. So it's stuff moves a lot faster than what it was. Everything was much harder back in those days. But
today the blue belt and purple belts, they're as good as black belts.
Yeah, they can be.
The guy that trains here with me all the time, Pedro Mario, just got a brown belt. He beats everybody, including me.
I think in those days, like the top blue belts, they were. I think the difference between like blue belts and black belts, if you're like a top blue belt, like you hold your own, you can maybe tap out, you can beat the guys in the gym. But I think the difference really is the tournament time. Like a blue belt competes much different than a black belt. From back in the day when I was a black belt, I remember that, like, because in the gym you're training against the blue belt, and man, you're like, man, this guy's like the same, almost, right? A top level guy. And I was top level too, but like I was like, man, this guy's like a top level guy. But then tournament time, it was a different story,
Yeah, because experience makes a difference, But what I try to say is this: today, even these purple and brown belts, they arrive on the black belt on the topest level, and more this is going to happen because now they see the opportunity that can become professional. This.
Yeah.
When you told your family, I'm going to Brazil to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they say, what the hell is wrong with you? Why? Today, it's not. If you have money, tell your family, I'm going to Brazil to learn, they're going to support you.
Yeah.
Because they see, maybe they're going to become a champion, going to make money. A lot of people are making money today with Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah. For me, like what Jiu-Jitsu has given me is I feel like more than anything is character, like my mindset that has built like the groundwork for any success I've had in my life. Anything that I've done and I've been successful at is because of the lessons that I've learned on the mat, on the mat. So like the character, like never giving up, like just mental toughness, persevering no matter what, what are some of the things that Jiu-Jitsu has given you?
I think one thing that Jiu-Jitsu gives to all of us, and I think without we kind of think about this, but on the end, I think that's what makes us all united. Let's say the people from your gym, the people that you train, people that you be on a daily basis, okay? You get so much boundaries with the people because they go in a tournament and then they fight the first match. They come back tired. You're right there doing massage. You don't even do massage in your own wife, but you do in your training partner. And the people look at you from outside.
Don't say it publicly, man. Don't say it publicly.
Huh?
Don't say it publicly.
But people come to me, man, I don't understand you guys. You guys do massage on each other, but it's not. It's the brotherhood that Jiu-Jitsu creates that you want to see your training partner succeed so well that make that brotherhood become a big, like my big friends that I have was not built on my neighborhood, was not built on my school. Actually, was built on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
The guys that actually want to kill each other,
Yeah.
but at the same time want to look up to each other. And I think the jiu-jitsu teaches us this. If you look through this process that we're going right now, we paid. We charge the people a prepaid membership, but technically closed.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the brotherhood that create, people all was willing to adapt this new style where you can do only online to support the school and to keep in touch. But I believe it's more because they don't see us as like a LA Fitness. I pay for service. They see us as a brotherhood. It's like a fraternity, you know, like where it's not just the money involved. It's more than the money. I think Jiu-Jitsu teach me this a lot because I have even members of my family say, man, you do more for your friends than you do for your own family. But just because they're not my blood, but they like my family, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the Jiu-Jitsu teach me this a lot. It teach me how to deal with adversities, you know? Because when you begin Jiu-Jitsu, you're constantly in adversity.
Yeah. It's Jiu-Jitsu has given us so much, huh?
Yeah.
And I think part of what we do is just kind of giving back, right? Giving back what it's given us.
Exactly.
Well, what kind of advice would you give? You know, speaking of like the brotherhood, and you know, we miss everybody, right? We miss everybody. And
Yeah.
what advice would you give like students? You know, what kind of advice would you give them to keep their head straight and keep going? You know, to get through this process.
I say this. We're still teaching some online classes like this to be able more not to teach them only jiu-jitsu, but actually to be able to see each other and to keep the brotherhood alive.
Yeah.
So the advice is this, you know, this is unexpected for all of us. No one ever thought that in 2020, you're going to be locked in your house, maybe you can go in a grocery store or restaurant. You can go to the grocery store without process, you know, want to go to kids, you know, so it's a new process, which I say this on my class of the day, as much as this is really bad, we have to take the bright side.
Yeah.
Because how much time do this crazy lifestyle that we have, that we spend with your kid, with your wife, cooking. Like I've been making cakes, I've been making everything, you know, because it's something that usually we don't do our, you know, busy schedule. And I believe that stay home, all this thing happen, give us a different prospect in life. Values that we lost through this process of technology. I think this will give us more hope. And I really believe that when all this passes, the society will be better because people will understand the values that was putting into to us is a superficial values. Because on the end, the only things you can rely, it's your friends and your family, because it is what it is, you know? And I don't know, I think like my kid, I have a 10 years old, you know, and how many times when I'm home, she asks me to do something and say, hold on, I'm working, I have a lot of things to do, I have to leave. And I can't give the attention, not because I try to be a parent or anything, it's just this crazy life make us to do this. But now that we're still working a lot, but you have to stay home, man, I've been reading a book with my kid, riding a bike with my kid, things that usually we don't do it. Yeah. And I think makes even my daughter understand that, you know, like life is not just a computer, internet, the family, it's what makes you grow as a person, you know? So as much as it's bad, all this financial situation that we're going through, personally, I think makes me reflect and become a better person this 45 days that I've been at home, 30 days that I've been at home.
30 days at home, yeah. Yesterday, I think yesterday was 30 days, you know, somebody told me.
Yeah, today right here, the 15th.
Okay. One day you guys are one day behind us. Yeah, like it's It's an unprecedented situation, right? We could have never seen this kind of coming. But just the fact that they're locking us down like this, right? But there's always a negative things, bad things happen. There's always the other side, right? It can be a blessing in disguise if you have the right mindset, if you look at it the right way. If you look at it the wrong way, you know, I watch the news and you complain, right? It's you know, you're gonna get that. But if you think the right way and hey, this can be I'm gonna use this situation. I'm not happy, but I'm gonna use it to become better, right? And you can use that negative to become a positive.
Exactly.
Yeah, I uh, I uh, I hope we get the things lifted pretty soon though. Right?
Yeah, I don't want to be I want to be optimist,
Yeah,
but we gyms in general, okay, I think is the last things on the list to reopen. I
right.
think first one will be offices, restaurants, more things that is being closing right now, like stores that sell retail stores, because it's easy to control the spread. Because you know, as much as financially I want to open
Yeah,
to get my life back to what it was, I have to think about my kid. You know, like this thing is not over. If we open tomorrow, the virus is still there. They don't have the vaccine. They don't have the cure. They don't have a lot of answers out there.
yeah,
So what I really think they're going to start to reopen things, but I believe for us will be around May or June. I don't know, but I just want to make sure we don't have to go through this process twice, because sometimes we might going to rush, and you know it's not going to. We're going to have to do everything again for longer.
yeah,
So I really think that the mortality of this thing is very low. I personally know people that have the virus, and I talk to the person, and the treatment is stay home. It's like a strong flu.
like a flu. Yeah,
You have to stay home, but I think in the end, people going to understand that healthy you are, less is exposed to this type of things you have. And I think, like I said, the bright side is when everything goes back, at one point it's going to go back to normal. We're in 2020, they will find a vaccine. They will find ways to fight this. It's not the end of the world, because if you look the numbers, the numbers don't reflect all this pandemic, you know?
yeah, craziness.
Yeah, the numbers, you know? But it's lives, you know, when you lost one life, you have to take serious. So I truly think that when we back, the thing's going to be much better than it is right now. I think we're going to actually grow,
Yeah.
because people now will give a value to the health lifestyle. I don't know, it's just my thoughts. I read
Like,
a lot.
I look at the pictures, you know, of like you know, a couple months ago, and we just totally took everything for granted, right? The way just to be able to go in and train and just to walk around, like having the freedom, right? We never think about how lucky we are to be able to do all the things that we are. But these kinds of situations put things in perspective, right? The
Yeah.
things that mattered one time, one day, the next day didn't matter, right? What matters is our family, our friends, you know. And I appreciate the jiu-jitsu community because yeah, we are gonna become stronger because of this situation.
Yeah, I think so. Like I say, I always look to the bright side now, because if you're going to think only the negative things, you're not going to leave your house,
Yeah,
you know, because you might going to die.
yeah, that's it.
You're not going to eat any food because maybe somebody prepared the food, you know. So you have to be positive, and you have to face the facts that more and more a society is going to deal with bigger problems, because, you know, with all this pollution that we do, all these things that happen, you know, for us to become that strong society as a price. And more we're going to pay the price. You just have to be ready and see the facts that, you know, it's part of life. This is not the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah,
It's not going to be the last one. but we're gonna get out strong, you know.
You know, like the pollution here in Los Angeles is down, and so it's almost like a Mother Earth, right, is claiming back to clean out the air, to clean out the lands, you know, to tell us, hey, take it easy, relax a little bit, you know.
Exactly. It's really hard for you know, like for me to understand that, you know, in 2020, and still this pollution is one of the main problems that we have, and people never addresses how to fix. People always say, oh, we got to go to electrical cars. But the main source to make electricity in USA is a fossil fuel, which creates a lot of pollution. So it's a lot of things that have to be addressed, you know, but it's a lot of politicians, a lot of things involved. But I think this is just a sign for us to say, hey, listen, we can live better because look, out the pollution, everything is better. The weather is better, and all over the world. So that means whatever we're doing something wrong, because in 30 days the world climbs back a lot, you know.
Efficiency of way of life, right? Efficiency, like for not just ourselves, but like the world. So I mean, that's the lesson that we're taking from all this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for your time. You know,
Pleasure.
big fan. Like, you know, I feel like I've, you know, seen you grow up, you know, from landing here in the U.S. and you know, evolve and get married and become a dad, a father, and just you know, it's been a big pleasure to know you over all these years.
Likewise, Al, you know, you being a very big inspiration for me since the back on the time. You know this, I always I always say this to you, you know, I learned a lot in the process of managing schools, managing things, opening schools. Since your first school in LA, I was there since day one.
Yeah, you're
and you know,
legacy.
And you know, I'm, you know, as much as you say you follow up and you look up to me, I'm a big fan, and you know, I hope our friendship go through years and we can learn from each other. You know, keep supporting each other, and like we have a very common friends that like Alexandre stays with you, Breno. They my good friends back home. I always go back to Brazil. I stay with them, you know, and they like a family to me. They like a family to you. So we have a lot of connections, you know, and I hope we can keep this connection strong and keep helping each other, you know, to grow.
For sure. Thank you, brother. And all the best to you and your family. And I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. For you too. Send a hugs to the kids. They're probably big right now. Remember when they're born. Send a hello to your wife as well. And I hope to see you soon. As soon as this thing get back to normal, we'll be able to travel and see our friends, you know.
All right, brother. Big hug.
Take care.